Hi, I'm Frankie, and in this video, I'll share how you can create a RAG pattern in Azure AI Search where you vectorize content to make it available for searching using semantic search. This is done for AI agents or applications where you want to search based on the semantic similarity by using vector embeddings. So right now, we'll start in this Azure resource group where we have an Azure AI Foundry resource, which has an Azure AI Foundry project, and also a storage account and a search resource. The first thing we'll do is upload some files to our storage account into a container that will be our data source. So I'll go into Storage Browser, Blob Containers, and I'll create a new container. I'm going to call it NASA ebook. The reason for this is because this is the data that we're using. So I'll show briefly this list of pages that we have. It's just a bunch of pages from a online book that NASA had with a bunch of information with images and data related to pictures. And here's a couple different pages where we're just looking at the text from these PDFs. We're not looking at anything related to the images, so the images aren't here. We're just pulling out the text from all these PDFs. So now in this NASA ebook, I'll go into the container. I'll upload these documents. Now that all the documents are uploaded, we'll go back to our resource group. So anytime you're setting up vector search, you need an AI model that can create a vector embedding by converting text into an embedding vector. So for this, we're going to go into Azure AI Foundry, where we're going to deploy an AI model that is specifically an embedding model, a model that creates the vector embeddings. We'll use this to create our vectors with our data, and also it'll be used to vectorize queries that are coming in as text to compare with the other vectors. So we'll go to Models and Endpoints within Azure AI Foundry. We see we already have one embedding model, but we're going to create a new embedding model for our specific use case. You can always search by the type of model name. I'm going to filter based on the inference task. We're using embeddings, so I'll filter based on that. I'll choose text embedding 3 small. It's cheaper and works well. And we'll call this NASA ebook. Will be our deployment name. Now back in our resource group, we'll go to our AI search resource. And now that our AI model for doing the embeddings is set up, and also our data is within our data source, which is in Azure Blob Storage, we'll come up to here to import data. We'll use the new import wizard. We'll select Azure Blob Storage. And since we're using the RAG pattern in order to create this vector search scenario, I'll select RAG. I'll select my storage account, the blob container we just created. We're going to grab everything within that container. We don't need to use a subfolder here. We'll leave the parsing as default. We won't enable deletion tracking, where if you remove documents and you have soft delete enabled in your Azure Blob Storage account, they would be removed from an index later on. We won't authenticate with managed identity, so we'll go next. Next, we're going to vectorize our text. This is going to be where we configure our Azure AI Foundry embedding model. So we're going to change this kind to Azure AI Foundry. Then we'll select our specific project that we deployed our model to. We'll select our model we just deployed. We'll leave the authentication type. We need to acknowledge that connecting this does mean there will be additional costs. This is because you have to pay for the input and output tokens from that embedding model that is deployed in Azure AI Foundry. So we'll click Next. You have the options to vectorize images if you have another model deployed that specifically creates embeddings based on image content. There's very specific models for this kind of thing. We're not going to do that. Enrich with your data. This is OCR. This is where you can pull text from images if you have PDFs with images of receipts or documents that have text in them or are not default text in a PDF, something like that. We also aren't doing that because our PDFs are already digital. You can enable semantic ranker. This is the ability to, when your results come back from your types of search, there is an additional step for your search to be semantically re-ranked based on the intent of the user's query. We're not going to enable this. And then you can preview the index fields if you want to see kind of what the source columns look like, what your target columns in your index will actually look like, and then the field index. If you wanted to add fields, you could do that here. I'm not going to in this circumstance. You can choose how long and how often you want your index to schedule. Right now it's only going to run once, but you can run it as many times as you'd like throughout these different types of periods. There's no harm in running your index multiple times. The downside is there is a cost for every single time you do embed new data based on those input and output tokens using the embedding model. But in terms of your usage of your AI search resource, you only ever pay for the compute in your partitions and also your replicas. We'll call this NASA ebook rag. So this will be the name of our index. Then we'll create this. We can close this, and now we'll see there are 4 new resources that were created: an index with our NASA ebook rag, an indexer, NASA ebook rag indexer, our data source, NASA ebook rag data source, and our skill set, NASA ebook rag skill set. And the way this ends up working out is that we have an indexer which reads from our data source, then the skill set transforms that data from the data source into the index. Now we can go into our index and use Search Explorer to start searching and viewing the content that we have in our index. When you're ready to take advantage of this for a RAG pattern using vector search, you'll need your URL for your AI search resource and also the API keys for your AI search resource, which you can get here or in the sections settings under keys. Let me know if you have questions in the comments below. I answer every question to help as many people as I can. As always, if this video was helpful for you, I'd appreciate if you liked the video and subscribe to this channel if you want to see more content like this. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next one.